Welcome the CS Tech Solutions. Today is Learn in Android. Today is Learn Android 2 Android Wizard in radios buttons and radios groups in the Android and in the Android as the radios button in the mainly used together in the radios groups in the radios groups is checking one radios buttons out of the several radios buttons to add in it will automatically as unchecked of all others, and it means that the one time we can check only the one radius buttons from the groups of the radius buttons and which is belong to the same radius groups, and it most common to use the radius button is in quiz Android apps codes, and radius buttons is the two stats buttons and that can be the checked or the unchecked, and if the radius buttons is unchecked then the users can check it by the simply clicking on it, and once the radius buttons is checked by the users is cannot be unchecked by the simply the pressing on the same buttons, and it will automatically as unchecked. Then you have to press any others radius buttons within the same radius groups. And important note, the radius groups is the wizards is used in the Android for the groupings of the radius buttons and to provide the furthers of the selecting any one radius buttons from the set, and then the users try to select any others of the radius button within the same radius groups as the previous, as selecting the radius groups will be as automatically unchecked, and show the figures as the select your the favorite WWE superstars, and superstars names is there in the radius buttons, and one group inside the another the many radius buttons is there, and any one has select in John Chen is select, and other is select the John Chen is select is unchecked, and other is selected, and radius groups and radius button code in XML as the radius groups is Android colon the layout underscore width equal rep underscore content, and Android colon the layout underscore height equal the rep underscore content. Inside the many radio buttons is there at the radius button, and Android colon the IDs equal the double quotes and @ plus ID slash the simple radius button is the ID's names is there, and Android colon the layout underscore width equal the rep underscore content, Android colon the layout underscore height equal the rep underscore content, and many radio buttons is there in radius groups, and slash and radius group as close, and this code is look at the figures to show the output, and checking the current states of the radius buttons, and you can check the current states of the radius button programmatically by using is check methods, and this the method is return the boolean values as the either as a true or the false, and if it is the checked then the return the true, otherwise return the false. And below is the example of the code with the explanations in the which we can check the current states of the radius button, and the radius buttons and object as the simple radio button equal and counts as the radio buttons and find view by ID counts as the capital R dot IDs dot simple radio button and semicolon, and the booleans radio button states equal and the object at the simple radio button dot is checked and counts and semicolon is the check the current states of the radius button it true or the false. Many attributes of the radius button at the now let's we discuss the importance of the attributes we have to help to create the beautiful radius buttons in the XML files and layout. And first is ID. ID is an attribute is used the unique identify the radius buttons. And second is checked. The checked attributes is the in the radius buttons is used to set current states of the radius buttons, and we can set it either true or the false, and where the true is so as a checked states and the false is so as unchecked of the radius button. And as the usual as default, the values of the checked attributes is false, and we can also set the current states in the Java. And below we set the true values of the checked attributes, which we set the current states to the checked of the buttons. As the example, as the radio buttons and Android colon the IDs equal the double quotes @ IDs slash the ID name as the simple radio buttons, and Android colon the layout underscore width equal the rep underscore content, and Android colon the layout underscore height equal the rep underscore content, and Android colon the checked equal the true, and close at the set the current states of the radius button. Look at this, the figures. You have to radius buttons as circles is there, and if the checked is true, and select the buttons is there is so, and setting the checked states of the radius buttons in the Javas, and the radius buttons and object as the simple radio button equal counts at the radius button, and find view by ID counts at the capital R dot IDs dot ID name as the simple radio button and semicolon, and the object name as the simple radio button dot is checked and counts as the true and semicolon. If the set the current states of the radius buttons is there and selected radius buttons is so. The third attribute is the text. The text attribute is used to set a text in the radius buttons, and we can set a text both ways, either as XMLs or the Java's class. And the gravities attributes is optional attributes, and we can use to control the alignment of the text, like the left, right, center, top, bottoms, and central underscore vertical, center underscore horizontal, and etc. And the below the examples of the explanation include in which we set central gravity for the text of the radius button, and check the example at the radius buttons, and radius colon the IDs equal the IDs is there, and Android colon the layout underscore width equal the fill underscore parent, and Android colon the layout underscore height equal the rep underscore content, and Android colon the checked equal the true. If the radius buttons is checked is true, and Android colon the text equal the IM buttons, and text is there as IM buttons, and Android colon the gravity is equal the center, so the text is so in the center. And fifth attribute is a text color. The text colors attribute is used to set a text colors of the radius buttons, and the colors value so is forms of the has a RGB, and has the RGB, and has the double R double G and double B, or the has double A double R double G and double B. And sixth attribute is text size. Text size attribute is used to set a text size of the text of the radius buttons, and we can set a text size in the SP is a scale independent pixel, or the DP is a densities pixel. And text styles is that the text styles attribute is used to set a text styles of the text of the radius buttons, and it is the possible the text styles are the bold, italics, and normals, and if we need to use the two or the more styles in the text views, and then the verticals operators is used for that, and the radius groups is there, and Android colon the IDs equal the @ plus id slash and id's names and Android colon the layout underscore width and layout underscore height equal the wrap underscore content Android colon the checked equal the true as the buttons is selected and the Android colon the text size equal the 25 SPs and Android colon the layout underscore central horizontals equal the true at the centers is theirs and Android colon the text equal the male text names is male is there and Android colon the text colors equal has an F00 is a red colors hexa code and so at the colors of the text is red and the Android colon the text styles equal the bold vertical and italic the verticals and italics if the bold styles is theirs and background attributes is used to set up backgrounds of the radius buttons and we can set colors or the drawables in the backgrounds of the radius buttons and the padding attributes is used to set up paddings from the left and right top or the bottoms and the 10th attribute is a drawable bottom, drawable top, drawable left and the drawable right and this the attributes is draw and the drawable to the as below the of the text in the radius buttons and check the example as the radius buttons and Android colon the IDs equal the @ plus ID slash and IDs names and Android colon the layout underscore width and layout underscore height equal the wrap underscore content Android colon the checked equal the true as the radius buttons is selected and Android colon the text size equal the 25 SP and the padding equal the 10 dps 20 dps at the and the all the side the paddings is there at the 20 dps and Android colon the layout underscore central horizontals equal the 2 at the centers of the names and radius buttons is theirs and Android colon the text equal the abi Android is theirs and Android colon the text colors equal the hex F00 is the red colors of hexacode the red colors is there in text and Android colon the drawable right equal the @ drawable slash the IC underscore launcher and close at the IC underscore launcher's image is there in the text right side and so thank you to watch the videos. Please subscribe the channel on the notification and bell icon. Thank you so much to watch the video.